Hello, everyone. We're going to talk about generative AI, which is something everyone has been hearing a lot lately. First off, who we are. We are Keepler. We build data products, and we build them in the public cloud. We are partnered with Google, AWS, and Azure, and we are cloud native and data native. Now, at this point, everyone has been hearing about generative AI a lot. And in this session, I would like you to all leave to have with a better understanding of what generative AI actually is, what can do, what cannot, what's the hype, what are the realities, and how it's been applied into the real world, for better or worse in some cases. And with that, you will be in a better position to understand how to apply that strategically in your business. Now, the speed of generative AI, at what speed have been evolving, is mind-blowing, basically. You couldn't know about what's going on with generative AI a while ago, and suddenly it's absolutely everywhere, and every single, almost week, you have a huge leap in technology. But what is actually generative AI? In a nutshell, it's a subset of artificial intelligence that can create new data based on what it has seen already, and with some guidelines based on prompts. More on that later. But to understand generative AI, we need to understand three key concepts, which will be the foundational models, or large language models. Those are pre-trained AI models that are designed to be adapted into the specific task you want the model to do, and your maybe a specific language or kind of information you guys have. Also, you have embeddings. Embeddings will be a special case of LLMs that try to vectorize or transform the data you have into a more numerical and computing understanding form that allows you to do some special kind of operations. And additionally, you have prompts. And I'm sure everyone has been hearing about prompt engineering and all of that. And it is basically a piece of text, or really context, that explains the model or tries to set the start of the model towards the end goal. Basically, what you type into ChatGPT. Now, what is Gen AI, or where does it fit in the overall landscape of AI? Well, you have AI at the top, and that's a huge area, or discipline, I would say. Then you have machine learning, then you have deep learning, and a subset of deep learning, especially some specific case of generative adversarial networks, or in this case, mostly transformers. You have generative AI, a very small subset that is making huge leaps in advancement. Now, the difference between generative AI and traditional, and I don't like to call it traditional, but I cannot find another better term. If any one of you have an idea, please tell me. But the difference between generative AI and traditional AI is the goals those models have, generally. You will say that in traditional AI, the model, and this is a huge oversimplification, by the way, the model tries to learn how to draw that line that separates the blue balls and the green balls. And if I put a new ball that model has never seen, it's going to check in which side of the line it is and how far of the line it is. And that's going to be the way the model makes a decision, if it's blue or green, in this case, green. In generative AI, the model learns basically the overall language or concepts that, and again, your language has, your data has, and with some instructions, those prompts we just said, it can create new data that is based on that language that the model knows. So suddenly something new is popping into existence. Now, I said that the model learns the language, and that's true, but language is a very general term, and for good reason, because language could be text, or a language. It could be English, could be Portuguese, could be Spanish, could be French. But also can be images. Yeah, that's a kind of language. And also can be video, and can be task, and can be proteins, and can be the sequence of the items user has been buying in your marketplace or something like that. So all of that can be defined as language. And that's the strength of this kind of models. Everything is language. Every effort and improvement is applicable to everything else. And that's a difference between that kind of approach deep learning had in the past. Now, that means that since they have different strengths and objectives, generative AI is not replacing traditional AI, traditional machine learning, or well, AI. That is applied to different areas and with different techniques and technologies. In traditional machine learning, you could do cases of customer segmentation and sales forecasting, or classification, or identify elements in a video or image to do some automatically and intelligent inventory classification or calculation. In generative AI, what you could do is product design, or you can create or accelerate content creation. You can enhance the capacity of your user or your team force to access your internal information, which is huge, by the way. In traditional AI, data analyze the existing data to make decisions. Generative AI creates something new. All that is an important comparison to keep in mind. Now, since we all have been hearing about generative AI, there's a huge hype around what it can actually do. So we need to keep in mind some realities about it to apply that correctly. It's not that it cannot do a lot of this stuff. It's that you need to know exactly what you want to do with it. Because there's a lot of overpromise when you have a new, exciting technology. And with the overpromise, well, we all been working in this kind of field for a long time. Overpromise is never a good thing. It's not a catch-up solution. Also, new technology, everyone expects immediate ROI, return on investment from the get-go. Not going to happen. At the end of the day, this is going to be impactful and transformative. And transformative things take a while to take place and impact within a company. That is not to say that this kind of technology cannot be and won't be a huge asset to keep in your company, but you have to be realistic about how is the strategy and when do you expect it to have that kind of transformation. Also, a lot of ethical and regulatory hurdles and technical limitations. Still, a new technology. It's hard to have people with good skill set and good knowledge and understanding what is actually going on. And this technology also has its limitations. You have a huge data dependence. You are not going to train an element from scratch. Well, you could, but honestly, you shouldn't for most of the cases, not all the cases. Because you need kind of half of the internet data to train one of these, which is ridiculous. So that's why a lot of companies are popping up with new LLMs that they make available. And not only companies, open source approaches too. Huge leap on that. I keep an eye on open source on this. There's a lot of computational cost to apply machine learning, generative AI specifically. The kind of machines and computation you require for this is big. So that kind of cost, that's something you need to keep in mind, sorry. There's interpretability and transparency. In ML, a lot of new approaches allow to give you an idea on why a model has to make a decision. That's not applicable to generative AI, and you have the huge problem of hallucinations. Which I won't get into detail right now, but it's basically when the model answers whatever it wants, based on reality or not, and how to handle that is a problem. And eventually the skill gap. Now, there's one point I would really love if you take from this overall talk, which is the models do not understand and reason. The models are great to continue the sequence or continue the context you have given, but doesn't have a good understanding. This is good, but I'm going to use chess. You could have a generative AI chess model that is great at playing chess and is grandmaster level, but could be beaten by an amateur because it doesn't have a really actual understanding of what is going on. It's just great at continuing to play. So anything else about that is mirages and smoke and mirrors. Keep that in mind. Looks great. Keep in mind that. There's also some urgency on replacing a lot of people with generative AI. Let's fire every translator we have and suddenly automate that. And maybe your articles now are not that great, half in Spanish, half in English, and very badly written either way. Or let's replace a lot of developers with generative AI. Maybe not a good idea. Requirements actually are complicated, and understanding what is the problem is kind of the challenge, not doing the code, really. But you have also good cases. For example, I really like the ground news example, which is a very simple approach. These guys basically are an aggregator of news that they classify each news media based on the kind of, they lean left, right, or center, maybe. And they use generative AI to summarize the overall message that the leaning left newspapers does, the center ones and the right ones, to give you a comparison between what is every side of the spectrum saying about a specific news, which is great. You can also have the Notion approach, which is giving you templates for the users to create or accelerate the typing of emails or tasks or organization. That kind of human enhancement is interesting. Or, and this is ours, by the way. This is a recommendation engine, the retail one. We use every single product, very big retail, by the way, has as a language, and it's going to, right now it's in production, and it's able to recommend the next best item based on what you have seen in AI, what you have brought right now. And it lacks some weaknesses that current recommendation models have, which are complicated in a fast-moving inventory space. Now, there's a huge amount of use cases we could talk, and really, we don't know half of it yet. Because basically, we don't know what the technology can do right now, as it's rapidly evolving. We just don't really know. But we need to keep in mind how these kind of capabilities could be tackled. At the end of the day, I would recommend you to start with this kind of use cases, the enhancement of the human, the copilot approach. Give better tools to your developing guys or your operators guys in the plant to improve their knowledge, improve their work, and remove the parts that are gruesome or tedious, really. Content creator, you can pilot ideas or prototype concepts, prototype marketing materials before having to do the whole thing. You can improve the customer support responses, you can do templates, as I said before, and you can improve the decision support, making available all that information in a single place instead of going around all the documents you may have. In fact, a lot of use cases are based on this kind of thing. The use case is based on text to text. Again, we can do text to text, image to text. There's a lot of variation, but this kind of basic use case is the one I would recommend to start with in generative AI, which is the retrieval augmented generation. This is basically the difference between I'm going to train my model to learn all my documents and data and guidelines. Let's think that you have a set of internal procedures to do whatnot in your company. The model doesn't have to learn those. The model has just to have access to those. And when you ask a question, or make a query, or call that whatever you want, it's going to pull the documents that are relevant to your response. It's going to create a response based on that information, a new response, summarize, and it's going to give you the documents and reference that the model used to create those responses. So it's a very nifty use case, very simple, in a way, use case, and has a lot of impact, and can be applied to all the previous examples that you said. The public cloud is doing a huge offer on this. I'm not going to go into detail, but at the end of the day, they are betting on their own models, they are betting on open source, they are making a huge approach on this, and at the end of the day, the difference is going to be mainly the technology behind that and how it fits in your organization. And that's pretty much it. I have these takeaways I would like you to have, that is a great technology. It's going to be, and is right now, being very, very impactful. that there is a hype and there is a reality. And be aware of that if you want to apply that strategically. There's a huge opportunity in here. And with that all said, thank you very much. This was a very difficult topic to fit in this time frame, so I'm sorry if I wasn't complete enough. Thank you very much.